Well, hello, fellow traveler. Had a feeling you might wander back this way with it being Mercury retrograde and all. We actually had Mercury go retrograde on the 25th, just a couple days ago. And this is going to be a really interesting retro cycle. So I thought let's do a portal report around this whole period and just kind of talk about what's going to roll out here. We're going to open up with a little ARCANE BS. Now, this energy is going to be with us for quite some time. I mean, it will be going direct. Mercury will be going direct on the 20th of March, but we won't be completely free of this influence until April 19th once we get out of that post shadow. And there's a lot that we're going to encounter in this cycle that can get a little bit messy. It can be a bit like everything's coming undone as it's simultaneously coming together, going through a fusion process in a new way. And so don't expect it to be necessarily the easiest of rides, but it really depends on how good you are at spontaneity, just really responding to things in the moment and being able to go with the flow. The more that you are able to do that, the more you'll find that was really weird. The more you'll find you master this cycle. Yeah, and you can break the karmic loop, you know, get a little bit of elevation over some tricky situations. We have to remember with Mercury, Mercury is the trickster archetype. And Mercury also empowers us. Mercury acts as a psychopomp between the threshold of the death of the old and the birth of the new life. So Mercury's here to help us move more swiftly by first doing a little visitation back to the past. And when we're looking at what we're wrapping up, what karmic cycle we're wrapping up here for transformation, we have to look back on that ring of fire that went down on October 2nd in the sign of Libra back in 2024. So consider this. This might be what you're kind of experiencing, these echoes kind of rippling through your reality that are wrenching the fabric of what's been in place for a little too long and creating a bit of fluidity, a bit of a wave of change, you could say, too, that will eventually carry you to quite a different shore than maybe you were expecting, you know. There's something here that you're going to understand very differently by the time we get through this process, but you're not going to see it for some time to come because we are in middle of eclipse season. And of course, this opened up with that ring of fire in Aquarius on the 17th. There's a new power that's coming into your awareness here. There's something new that you're looking to root in reality. There's a way that you can work your magic, and maybe you're recovering a bit of magic that you've lost. And a lot of really being able to hold this magic and wield this magic involves you really being able to see through ways that we deceive ourselves, ways that we may have been deceived by others, ways that we are actually trying to sort through a lot of deception in the form of illusion. And there's problems to solve here. There's problems to solve that are very real. They're very pressing. They're very present. There's also problems to solve that are illusory, and both are very important for our freedom from these old cycles, lest we just find ourselves digesting the same stuff over and over and over again. So we went through that initiatory gateway of the Stargate. We made our way up the mountain. And we passed through that portal of transformation, and now we're coming back down that mountain changed. And this is Genesis, okay? This is the nucleation point, and it's being further activated by Saturn and Neptune in Aries. And that's why that ring of fire that went down in Libra on the 2nd of October 2024 is coming back around the bend. It's on the opposite side of that zodiac wheel from Aries. And so this is a balancing point as well. It's a balancing of a karmic cycle, but it's also a tipping of the scales in such a way where what was out of whack can come back into alignment. But when we're sort of recalibrating things, you know, it takes a while before you find that center. And that's what we're really going to be finding in this particular cycle. But what you will find, even as it gets messy, even as some things come undone and come together in new ways, is that you'll find you're coming back to life moment by moment by moment. And that's a good thing, man. This is an opportunity to get it right with spirit, to get it right within yourself so you can really follow your own soul's charge. And not just follow it, but make it known through your words and your deeds. So you're being asked to really show up in this way. And you're really going to feel the heat of that come March 3rd when we have that blood moon. It's a total eclipse. It's going down in the sign of Virgo, which is in the south node. And with this Mercury retro going down in Pisces, that's up in the north node, that's significant, okay? They're opposites, you know, that there's a very kind of tricky navigation when we got this kind of energy in play with the eclipse. We know during eclipse season that we don't have the full story. There's things that we can't see. And yet, with this eclipse coming in, there is something we see now that we didn't see back in October of 2024. And that makes all the difference. It's really going to let us know what needs to be detoxed here, what we need to exorcise. And I don't mean, you know, Jane Fonda workouts. Jane Fonda is really retro. I don't know why that's coming through. It makes me think of like jazzercise for some reason. Jazz hands. The more that you can kind of just go through it with a little bit of a playful spirit, the better off you're going to be, all right? But I mean exercise as in exorcism. I don't know. Maybe you want to work it out of your body a little bit. That can help. But in some cases, it really means eradicating the control freaks from your life. It also means you can't grip so tightly on things, okay? I mean, it's traditionally the worm moon, this full moon coming up. And when I think of worms, I think not only of what decays, but I also think of what grows in that space and is actually nurtured in that space through what decays. So there's something about this, like something that's decaying is actually making it possible for something to grow. It couldn't grow unless there were that decay. And there's something of value in that. There really does need to be understood that puts a different slant on how you view experiences you've been navigating that have been really challenging. The more that you can kind of just like soft, open palms, you know, the more you can like let yourself just trust, you know, the more you'll see what actually can find its place of belonging with you. Interesting. Isn't that interesting? It's not about you finding your place of belonging. It's about what you're really needing to come into alignment with at this time to find its place of belonging with you. It's like your only job right now is receptivity and to get right with your soul and get right with your own directive right here and just hold that in your word and deed, not necessarily trying to make anything happen, just spontaneously responding in the moment. Yeah, I really feel it's time to let that shit go. And if it don't flow, it's a no, all right? So as much as you can, try to simplify it. Yes. Try to simplify it, right? You've already come out of a hangman position. You went through that initiatory gateway. And you do have self-knowledge you're working with here. You've already reached one stage of transformation. But as long as you're here in this physical incarnation, it's never done. It isn't. It's never done. Not until you take your last breath and shed this corporeal shell is it done. And even then, is it really done? It's only just begun. Yet again, just a different potentiality, a different dimension of awareness, a different experience. But if you can collapse it all of those timelines right now into the eternal now, it's all going down right now, and it always will. forevermore be that way. But there is some potent seed of potential that you hold now in your hands. You have a cosmic egg of creation. And what's inside of that egg? What does it need to nurture its growth? This is what you really need to become aware of during this cycle, because many of you are finding that you are releasing old dreams and you're incubating new ones here. You're about to hatch a brand new vision, and this takes some consideration. So this is what we look at when we're looking at a Mercury retrograde, and this is how Mercury acts as a psychopomp and helps us through these initiatory gateways, often by tricking us a little bit, you know. And this is a case where it's like, well, in order to really root what you need to move forward here toward the realization of a new dream that's more in alignment with your conscious state of elevation from what you learned going through the meat grinder the last time, there is something of worth. There's a little seed of potential that is to be found by traveling back in the consciousness to October 2024. Because something is coming to a culmination point here, all right? And this is your chance to get it right, but it does require that you flow. Now, there's more factors in play. On March 7th, we're going to have a Mercury Cazimi, and it's going to be coming in at 16 degrees Pisces. So coming in with that energy signature of the Tower, but also at the same time, the Chariot. It's like what comes down, what gets leveled, it actually gives us a way through. It is the vehicle forward. Without it, we can't get where we truly need to go at this time. And if you're not knowing what a Cazimi is, it's when a planet comes into 1 degree of orb of the sun and creates a conjunction. It's called being in the heart of the sun, and we got the sun and Mercury meeting up that day, okay? And of course, you know, as I said before, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, okay? So yeah, this is like a birthing portal that we're coming into there. And there is something that's being transformed from the South Node that allows us to activate the North Node there. It requires a lot of tempering. And it also requires that we balance quite different polarities within ourselves, you see, because with Virgo being in detriment, you know, to Pisces here, what we got is a little bit of oppositional push-pull. Virgo wants answers. Virgo wants everything to be really direct. Virgo needs the details, okay? Virgo wants the facts and the figures, more ruled by the intellect and wanting to have a clear understanding, sound understanding of things. And that clarity is coming in here. But the clarity is coming in by sort of what is made a mess of. Does that make sense? And, you know, Pisces is the opposite. Pisces wants to detach, you know. Pisces wants to wander off into the alfalfa. Pisces wants to follow the fields, you know. But with this energy, it can be a little muddy. There can be low visibility in the water. We can have turbulence in the water. We can get washed out to sea. And we can get so in the fields that the fields kind of bog us down, and then we experience a sense of stagnation. But the good thing about this Mercury Cazimi is that the clarity does come, right? And the light that filters in really highlights what needs purification. So we can release old visions, old desires, old attachments, and this finds a way through for something new, okay? This is when truths can get exposed to, right? And some of those truths that get exposed may be a little disarming. Yeah. I mean, you are going to feel like you're kind of being thrown into the thick of what you may have wanted to resist for quite a while. But I mean, this is the part where you get cast into the sea. You're really going through your transformation. It's also heading into the rebirth of Venus territory. Like, we're really in the thick of it right now. There's a lot of lessons that we're going to be integrating at that time that are going to help us sort through the rubble, make us realize that we can't rest in certain places in this sort of state of complacency anymore with the filthy mattress coming in with hang in there. It's like, this is not a resting place. This is something that comes in to really get us on the move. It's reroute time. A lot of you are going to be rerouted. You're not going where you thought you were going to go. Something unexpected happens here and it changes up the entire game plan. Okay? There's a lot of downloads that are going to be coming in at this time. There's a lot of risk that comes in as well. And it's really about balancing out the urge for rebellion with also a need to be able to find place within community too, right? You can't go too far out there yet. You are going to need others to work with you for the road ahead. It's important. So there's sort of a little bit of this tempering energy that's coming in here. We need to find very real solutions to both very real problems and also imagined problems. Like, some stuff is just in our heads. There are certain things that we do need to see through, and that's what this Cazimi will help us with. It will help us arrive at solutions, but they can't be just any solutions. They require spiritual solutions, okay? And it also requires community, all right? It requires community. And also finding your community, finding the people that you're meant to harmonize with, people you're meant to come together with. And some of you may be like me, you know, you may have unconventional views. You may be a little bit more eccentric. You may find that as you start to wake up more, as you start to see your truth more, that you might feel a lot more like me, like people like me that don't see things in alignment with the status quo. And chances are, if you found your way here, you probably don't see things the way most do, okay? Or maybe you're just starting to pull back that veil and have a look at things. And in fact, that is a little bit of the energy that comes in with that blood moon. The Sabian symbol for that is about lifting the veil on a bride. So it's like something is wanting to come into union here, but it needs to be seen. It needs to be seen as it truly is, without any kind of filter, without anything that acts as sort of a buffer between that real, tangible, raw experience. And for a lot of this is going to be going down in our relationships, all kinds of relationships, romantic relationships, relationships with our friends, relationships with our family, relationships with the people we work with, the relationship we have with our work, with ourselves, the way we see things, with life, with our beliefs, all of it. So this is going pretty deep, but what I like about it is we're going to find our connection routes here, okay? We're going to find our connection routes, what gets us from point A to point B. And it really is about the spontaneous flow. Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Okay. We got wet pants here turned up in the middle of the deck. So yes, see, it won't be long that you'll be in the fire. Okay. The tempering quality will come in because you're going to get thrown into the thick of it. It's like you've been in this place where it's been lit. You've been feeling the heat, and yet there's been maybe a little bit of reticence or fear or uncertainty of not having the answers that's kept you in an uncomfortable resting space. And in that uncomfortable resting space, can be an actual place. It can be a job you have. It can be somewhere you live. It can be a relationship you're in. It can be a place you're in your state of mind. I mean, it all starts with the state of mind, but whatever this is, you've just been birthing the same thing over and over and over again. And what you're birthing here is looking for transformation. And a lot of you may be wanting to transform significant relationships. It's something that will come through here. And where you want to do that, it is possible to find new ways forward. But that's the thing, new ways forward. And you see with this, you can see it from the imagery. There's no way to sort of have one foot in, one foot out. You got to be all the way in here, all the way in. You got to go through the fire. You got to be tempered. You have to have your will activated. You have to be willing to take the heat. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You have to face your fears. And you got to be all the way in with wet pants. But what you'll find is that if you can go there, that is the transformation point. Ooh, I like it. See, you let go of your grip and all the paths open up to you. Finally, you have that sun-moon synergy. You know, everything comes into proper alignment. The light starts to peek through. And this is the start of the dawn, right? It is the start of the dawn. It's everything that's on that other side of all that heavy energy we were navigating with Pluto in Capricorn there, that's also coming to a culmination point. We already went through one fire. We're almost all the way through. Now it's just when we're really experiencing sort of the purification of our consciousness, like the way we've seen things, the way we've looked at things, the stories we've told. It's happening in the crown. And a lot of you will be really having a lot of activation here in the crown, in the third eye, a lot that's going to be coming through. And there is more wild and free paths opening up here for exploration, and paths that are very much in alignment with your soul. And these paths do need to be explored. They're important. So where you felt like you haven't really had any options, there's a lot more options that are about to be available to you. Okay. And I like this energy because, see, there's freedom here. Like even big sexy Satan's got his wings and is heading on up to the stone of destiny. So, you know, it's sort of like the fallen are rising too. And when I say that, through purification, through getting a different perspective. Remember, the solutions come through spiritual sources here. And there may be a little spiritual intervention too. And there are some who may not be believers right now, but by the time they get to the end of this cycle, they'll be looking at things quite differently. It's got that kind of energy. Okay, so let's see what we got coming on through here. As usual, you know, when you need to balance it out, go commune with nature, right? And try to engage with community, you know, go out there, put yourself out there and see who comes your way. And yeah, you know, when you're a wanderer in a strange land, make sure that you honor the customs of the territory you're moving through, so you don't rise dissension. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to, don't like lay all your weird on someone right out the bat. I mean, if you're like me, you already got it all out there, so there's not much you can do about it. But, you know, read the room, okay? You know, you want to form alliances at this time. You don't want to create division. And not everybody is ready to see things from your perspective. This is something to be considered too. And this is when it might be wise in some cases to just, like, you know, be open, be receptive to meeting new people and to having conversations with people who come your way. Maybe in some cases you might have some who loop their way back around. But at the same time, you need to be a little bit mindful of not really understanding what is involved in forming these connections at this time too, because there's a lot that's hidden under the light of the moon with the eclipse season rolling out here. And some things may come around to be decayed, and you may assume initially that it's for renewal, but the renewal may be in the spoiling of that seed. You see what I mean? So you have to give an opportunity for things to show you what they are, and for you to show who you are as well. I'm not talking about putting on false airs, but you don't necessarily need to let everybody into your intimacy. You need to allow people to ease in. That's what's coming through. Ease in, and you as well, and allow people the space to recalibrate. I think I'm bringing this in because with the energy going down in Pisces with this retrograde, we have to remember that 12th house is about blind spots. It's about things that are hidden that can work against us. It's about karmic cycles, things that need to be cleared up. And now is really not the time to sign on the dotted line for anything. Now is the time to integrate lessons. Now is the time to let the clarity come. Now is the time to stay focused on what you already have come into awareness of. And, maybe nurture that on your own before you let a lot of other people in. And where you are integrating experiences with others, yes, be all in terms of open to discovering, okay? Open to learn. Don't feel like you got all the answers or that you know how something's going to go. Create the space for things to reveal themselves as they are to you. And also you take your time revealing yourself to others too. It will work to your benefit in this cycle. It can avoid a lot of unnecessary hassle. But by the time that we reach the energy direct, when Mercury finally goes direct on, let's see, the 20th of March. Oh, isn't that interesting? Yeah, 20, judgment in the tarot. And look, the judgment comes through and something new is born there, all right? Something new is born there. But even whatever you're initiating here, wherever the revival is happening in your life, come March 20th, there's still the period of the post shadow, okay? So it'll be like, okay, I'm all in with this, and yet there still will be sort of moving into that at a little bit more of, how's it wanting to come through? It's wanting to come through as a very present pace. So it's like you can't get too far ahead of it, because I feel like things are really going to be revealing themselves to you in real time. It's not like, okay, this is what I'm doing and I know every detail about it. I mean, we know that that's what Virgo wants, but yet there's still something here that is a little bit intangible. It hasn't yet fully come into form. We just know there's like some kind of emotional, intuitive evidence, resonance that, yeah, this is it. This is it. And yet a willingness to be all in with it without fully knowing how we navigate certain territory. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. You'll see that what gets set in motion there, it is like a wheel of fortune energy. And there's really this transmutation of what's been quite tricky. It does become the thing that leads to balance. It leads to justice. But yeah, look for the judgment to come through. Okay? So again, look back. We've been talking about this for a bit. Look back to October 2024. What was going on back there? Chances are it was pretty loaded. We were in the thick of the Plutonian territory. Whatever was going down there, the judgment is coming through on the 20th of March. All right. And by the time you reach April 19th, your road's clear and you have a much better understanding of the nuts and bolts of that. Okay. But there is something about getting into the water, right? Getting the wet pants. Like, once Mercury goes direct, you got to get in that water, because you've already seen a truth. You've had the purification. You've had the clarity come through, and you do see something where they were muddy, where they were hazy. You see the dawn. You do. You see the dawn, and you really recognize moment by moment, I'm coming back to life. You feel that the tide has turned here, right? So this is important to pay attention to. A lot of kind of like temperance energy coming through here, all right? Yes. And this is when you finally like let go of all the anger, the resentment, the bad blood. You recognize that none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. You've gone through your own spiritual purification, you know. A lot of people have been holding on to resentments here. And I really feel this is something that is being transmuted during this cycle, the sort of eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth mentality. I also feel like there's more of this coming together because there is the influence of what's going down on the worldwide stage, and very public figures that have held a lot of power are being revealed for their humanness, and not just their humanness, but also sort of the most corrupt side of humanity that almost has you wondering, is there any humanity left at all? Okay. So I do feel like there's this recognition too with that, as we recognize, wow, you know, this old power structure is really crumbling. That requires us to kind of look at where we've had too much polarization or too much division with our fellow man and go, wait a minute, like, I know that we have very different views and you don't really see things the way I do. We don't agree on everything, but we got to find a way to peace here. We got to stop fighting with each other, man. If we're going to turn this around, you know, we got to get to the root of the problem here, and maybe make some concessions and figure out how can we sort of start to work it out. And that's what I mean about not showing all your rebellion, you know, so outright, especially when you're trying to bring things together. And there's nothing that's phony about that. You can still show up genuine without letting all your weird out, you know, or taking places to people where maybe they don't want to go, or they're not ready to go there. They're not ready for those conversations. Okay. So there's a lot about really reading the room and understanding that what's important right now is that we get out of these very entrenched positions where we can't see our way to working things out with others, so we can come together and be more empowered just with what's going on in the world today, right? We're going to eventually have to disrupt that agenda that keeps us, you know, rising up against each other when we need to come together to overthrow what's corrupt. I mean, just to put it out there, but baby steps, because you sort of put that out to certain people, and some people can have a lot of resistance to that because it scares them, you know. They may need to experience more disruption before they really realize the truth of it, you know. But one of the things that I just feel is such a negative influence right now is just like Democrats this, Republicans that. It's like, can we stop? Can we stop? Can we stop? It's corruption across the board. It's corruption across the board, you know. So I think that a lot of that is something that does need to be recognized and kind of put aside. And yeah. And then maybe, you know, some of those people in positions of power will start to realize they can't just be like, well, F the people, because, you know, the people do got to say. We do got to say. Okay. So these kind of themes too, you know, are coming your way in your personal life. You got to say, you got a chance to get it right this time. Where have you been resting in a place that is really uncomfortable? You can't rest here anymore. It's compromised. With a certain stance you're holding, with a perspective you have, you know, with what you are complicit with, what you tolerate, you know. Some things shouldn't be tolerated, right? It may require you face the fear. It may require you face a difficult truth, but there's something that's transmuted here, and it's good, okay? This is when we're really, truly stepping into the dawn. Are we there yet? Are we all the way there yet? No. But each moment, you are present. You will recognize, wow, I'm coming back to life again. I feel finally like engaged again. I feel turned on again. So this is really good energy. Let me go ahead and do a cut of the deck and let's get some more on this just to see what comes through. All right, urinal death. I mean, it's long overdue. We got to release some things so we can finally get focused on where we're going here. And that's where we're experiencing the elevation. So there's upliftment that's coming in here on the other side of this Mercury retrograde. And what we're releasing, we're finally releasing it. We're letting it go. And we're also just letting go of our anger around it too. There's a lot of that that's going to be released. You're going to find that the tempering quality that comes in, the more that you can just release control, the more you're going to find that you're not even angry about what you have to let go here because it's out of alignment. It's not who you are anymore. What is there to be angry about? You know? It really is that simple. And the more that you can just trust how it's rolling out, the more your focus will be on lock. And there's something that gives you elevation here. You know, it all depends on how you look at things. You can look at it as, oh, I'm about to make this climb up another mountain again. No, you don't understand. Look at it a different way. Pan out. You see, it's like you're above the mountain now. You see the mountaintop. You've already transcended the mountaintop. Now you're in a whole new territory. Now you're riding the airwaves. You're riding the airwaves. And there's air in all the elementals. All the elementals have air. You know? It takes air to feed the fire. It takes air to form the water. And it takes air to carry those seeds for pollination, for the spreading of growth. So there's something here. You're traveling in a new way. You're traveling in a new way. And this is like a very synergistic point where you're mastering all of the elementals. That's how we come into that state of alchemy. We got to work with all the elementals in synergistic flow. So this is really coming through at this time. And we're really going to open up with the air because there's a lot of downloads coming in. And there are a lot of signposts showing up that are going to help you find the way through here. But this is elevation and it's good energy. And you may feel like you're so effing effed, okay? I mean, we are going through some fire here. We are being forged in the fire. We are being soul-smithed. That's part of what the Master Maker puts us through. But you have to remember what's on the other side of that. Once you're digested by that fire, is rising up like the phoenix and a new story begins. So it's all about your perspective, okay? You're not so effing effed. I mean, even if you do feel like you're really in the belly of the beast, something needs to be digested there, transformed You know, it's part of life. We're never free of that as long as we are here on planet Earth, where there's decay, there's growth, you know, and that's what's underway here. Your ability to be present with the process is really what's going to help you through. But if you can be present with it, and if you can accept what's rolling out here, and you don't try to cling tightly, and you allow yourself to let go, you'll find very quickly what's needed is put in the palm of your hand. Dare I say, instantaneously. It's really true. Bottom of the deck, do you see? You may feel like I'm in the middle of barren land. Nothing's growing here. And the minute that you just accept and you have open hands, look at that. Ace of Pentacles shows up. Well, now you got something to plant. Okay. So let's get some more details. What is coming through for the collective during this Mercury retrograde portal we're moving through? Got a little bit of everything coming in here. Mercury Kazemi. We got a blood moon. You know, a lot of interesting energy going on right now. We got Saturn, Neptune in Aries. Karmic cycles wrapping up, waterway in full effect. It really is about going with the flow, you know. And also that piece about, you know, real problems and imagined problems. Stop making up problems for yourself. A lot of times people imagine what could be going wrong simply because they don't have the answers or they don't see the results yet. You know, they don't realize how they destabilize themselves like that. It's like, hey, just because nothing is happening doesn't mean that something's wrong. Maybe it's absolutely on target, you know? Maybe it couldn't be more right. And be grateful for that, okay? So find peace in the present, and you'll find the more open you can be, the more you're going to get exactly what you need in perfect timing. Oh, that was interesting. These two cards just kind of got left behind here. What do we got? Do you see? The more you can just let go to the spontaneity, what comes rushing in is everything you need. Everything you need. It all starts to roll out right now. It's all starting to roll out right now. Because we just kicked off a new lunar cycle. So it's coming in here. It's going to continue to come in now. So be very mindful of where you're keeping your focus, because you are the alchemist. We have to remember Mercury in its association with the tarot comes in with the energy of the magician, the lovers, and the hermit. Okay. So this is important, because what's coming in here is everything you need, all the information you need, all the signs you need, all the connecting points you need, all the different connecting routes you need to get where you need to go to that point of fulfillment. And the more that you can be present in the process, the more you don't allow imagined problems to F up your flow. That's what it's about. Because this is effortless flow when you really let go. But the tighter you hold, the more you're going to create gridlock for yourself. It really is the way it is. So just because something seems to be going pear-shaped, don't make assumptions that everything's going wrong. That's not necessarily the case. You know, also looking at this energy here, it comes out to 18, you know, 18, the moon, it's an initiation. Breaks down to 9, it's an initiation for the hermit. This is a doorway we have to travel through to make it up to that north node, to pass through that initiatory gateway of Pisces and north node. We have to be willing to let go and to show up and just respond to what is happening right here in this moment. There's no way to get ahead of it. There really isn't. There's no way to get ahead of it, because it's really morphing right now. It's morphing by the nanosecond. And a lot of it morphs in response to your idea about things, your beliefs about things, how you feel about things. You're becoming such an activated conduit that you're going to really start manifesting things, calling things in. And they're coming in to show you things that need purification because, well, that's holding you back. Or this is where you're controlling too much and you're actually limiting yourself because something much better wants to come in here. This is where you're creating a problem where there isn't a problem at all. There's nothing to sort out here. All you need to do is release it. As soon as you do, as soon as you truly do, then you recognize, oh, that's exactly what I needed. Now it's right here. You don't recognize that something that you were clinging to too tightly is the very thing that was preventing you from having what you need show up right in the palm of your hand. It really is true. And you can put the theory to the test. The more that you do this, the more you're really going to see how it all shows up for you, how it all comes through. Right? How it all comes through. But it really is to get you to that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. The result of what you've transformed here. And yeah, 8 weeks, I mean, roughly, that'll pretty much align us with when we're post-shadow, out of post-shadow Mercury, right? So I feel like there's a big marker there. It really comes through as like a confirmation that, yeah, okay, all right, I aligned myself with the right path, because you're very clearly making a choice once Mercury goes direct on the 20th. And then by April 19th, you got the confirmation that, yes, you chose the right path there. There is like some kind of gold you're receiving from that experience, Some treasure really materializes there. It is something that's showing up in your material reality. It could be a relationship that you really treasure. It can be a healing with another that you really treasure. It can be some kind of success in your work that puts material treasures in your hands. Whatever it is, though, it has meaning. It's not just something superficial. It goes so much deeper than that. And it does really complete a cycle for you, a cycle of transformation. Okay, one more round of this, see what comes through. One more round of this to see what comes through for the collective. Anything else? Anything else you want to highlight with this for the collective here? And not all rebellions are loud, Not all rebellions need to stir things up. You know what I'm saying? Some rebellions are very quiet. Very quiet. Silent rebellions, Sometimes those are the most powerful. When you don't need to make a big fanfare about it. You just move with such grace that you let things effortlessly fall away, and then you enter that flow and you just come into alignment. You come into alignment with what's now in harmony with you. In fact, it can sneak right up on you. It can sneak up on you when you're totally unaware. Just by being in the flow with the Queen of Cups there. See, there's that air in the water. It really makes me think of the energy we moved through just this past October too. It came in first with the grand air trine, and then it merged into those grand water trines. So see, there's even something that got a little stalled out back in the fall of last year. That's also kind of sneaking up behind us. So it's going to catch us unaware. But before you know it, you're moving forward. You're moving forward in a way that maybe you didn't think was possible. I feel like there's been a little bit of this energy with the collective where it's like, I'm not going to allow my heart to get too invested in that. I'm not going to allow myself to feel too much around that because I don't want to be disappointed. And when we are in that space where we're like, well, I don't want to lean into that too much. I don't want to, really admit to myself how much I do long for that, desire for that, or how much I feel very deeply about this thing or this person or this situation. That when we do that, we actually put a blockage in place that doesn't, it like puts a cap on our emotional experience. It puts a cap on our dreams, and it limits what can really fill that space for us. And I think this is a big part of it that's being dissolved here, because like something's sneaking up behind us here rather unexpectedly. And it's a truth, and it's a truth we need to see. It's something we haven't seen, and it moves us forward very rapidly here. Very rapidly here. In fact, it's interesting because it does lead to that pentacle that the Knight of Pentacles is holding, something we can really plant that can grow from here, because we got the air here, right? And then we also got the fire here with that Eight of Wands, and we got the emotional investment here that is going to come into our awareness once we move into this transmutation energy. It's like the transmutation point. We get the tempering going on with the fire and the water, all right, that will ultimately be what leads to our fulfillment. We just got to plant the seed. We got to plant the seed. We got to plant that seed. We got to crack open that cosmic egg of creation that we hold. And you'll know when it's time. You'll know when it's time. The Kasimi is really going to highlight that on March 7th. So I really recommend March 7th, circle that date, make time on that day to bring yourself into the moment and be present and notice what are you recognizing is starting to shift for you in your thoughts and your emotions and the situations you've been dealing with. What kind of signs are showing up on your path? Just bring your consciousness in and allow yourself to really mock up a reality tunnel that day. Maybe start your day and say, okay, everything coming my way today is showing me something I need to see. So I know where do I need to plant that seed? Where is it really going to grow? Because where you plant a seed is important. You can plant a seed, but if it's not in the right soil, if the right elements aren't there, if it doesn't have what it needs to really be rooted and to flourish and grow, if it doesn't have the nurturing and the care that it needs, it doesn't matter what your intentions are with planting that seed, it won't be able to come to fruition. So really ask for life to show you that day through mocking up a reality tunnel. Just say, okay, however you relate to it, okay? I don't care how you relate to it. It makes no difference to me. Makes no difference to me, because to me, it's all the same trip. No matter what lens you view life through, spirituality through, it's all the same trip. We each just have different labels that we use that make us more comfortable in relating to it, okay? And some of that is founded on tradition. It's how we grew up. And so it's very rooted in us. And that's why I have acceptance for all different paths and all different perspectives. And here comes Ted wanting to barge his way in again. Come on in. Come on in. All right. All right. So, yeah, something's going to come barging in here is what I'm saying. Something's going to come barging in here that is going to change your perspective. That's how it's going to come in. All right. And I think in order for you to really know how to make best use of this, because you could consider it like an ace of pentacles that's going to be put in your hands, is really considering the best way to invest that opportunity, to invest that opportunity. Because I do feel like it's something that you'll act upon, but you also need to understand certain details in order to be able to sort through the rubble of realization. Understand that Ace of Pentacles may come through something that's a little bit destabilizing at first, or it may be sort of shocking to see, or it may be something you never expected. And in order for it to properly grow, there's things that need to be considered. So on March 7th, mock up a reality tunnel and just ask, what do I need to see? So I know the best way to invest my energy so this opportunity that's coming my way can grow. Show me the signs, show me the signs. Where is the clarity I need? Where is the truth I need to see? What is the work that I need to do at this time? How can I lay down the right foundation? Whatever comes through for you, whatever is most pressing to you, but do bring in some sense of awareness, active awareness that you carry with you throughout the day on March 7th to really help you decipher your experiences through that lens. When you bring in that kind of focus to your day, it shifts the way you move, and you do find, wow, all of a sudden I'm in the flow of synchronicity. I don't feel like I'm washed out to sea. I actually feel like I'm riding the wave, and I see the way that those ripples are in effect, and more kind of comes into your field of awareness, and it does start to have a cohesiveness there. And that's when you really realize I'm in that creative flow. I am merging with Creator here in this moment. We are one and the same. That's when you really do flow like water. Okay? So real big transformation point coming in there. Let me go ahead and do a cut of the deck. Came in at 56:55. So I've been noticing that on the time here. It keeps coming in as 11:10. 11:10. So it's like, first you have to come into the alignment, the balance within yourself before this Wheel of Fortune turns. So the more that you can be aware of what you need to see, what are the lessons that you need to integrate here, and a lot of those lessons that are going to come through with that Cazimi, I mean, they're going to come in such a way where they're going to demand that you look at them. It may feel a little jarring. It may feel a little, I can't even put it into words. It's coming through like that, like, am I ready for this? Am I really ready to see this? Am I really ready to act on this? Yes, you are. You are. So show life that you're ready on that day. And then I think you'll have a lot of the gaps in awareness be filled there. Look at that with the 9 of Cups. You see, it shows up instantaneously. And look at that. Suddenly you're on purpose. Suddenly you have the fire you need. And here's the moment where the wand merges with the chalice, and we have the nucleation of the future. It happens in the now. There's some kind of wish fulfillment coming through here. And the 9, we know, it does grow to the 10. And what do you got there? You got 19. You got the sun. That is all happening right now on a very alchemical level. It is the magician at play. It is the magician at play. 19, 1 and 9, 10, Wheel of Fortune. Who sets it in motion? The magician. How? By stepping through the energy of the fool, the trickster, the sacred clown, Mercury, who helps us move forward quite swiftly, rapid speed, by going through the portal of the past. That's what this Mercury retrograde is about. It's a linking point back to October 2024 that catapults you light years ahead of where you ever thought you'd be. By the time you close out this cycle, when we're out of that post shadow on the 19th of April, you're going to be so much farther ahead than you thought you'd be. And you're going to be on lock with a direction that you never expected. Maybe even something you didn't think would be possible. So open up to the possibility of the impossible, because it really does want to come through. And with that, it was 1:02 on the clock. Magician, High Priestess, merging together to bring what? The growth of the Empress. Look at that, even on the bottom of the deck here, 10 of Hearts. This is good news. This is good news coming through. I'm not talking about, oh, it's just like an intuition you have. No, this is good news coming through. This is showing up. This is a fulfillment point here. This is where the story gets good. Yeah, this is when you stop asking, are we there yet? Because you realize, oh my God, I'm here. I'm here. It's here. It's here right now. It's all going down now. And the more that you are able to bring yourself into the present moment, the more you're going to see signs of it. I want to just do one round of shadow light cards, since I know there's going to be some of this kind of illusory stuff coming in. There's still going to be like shadowy aspects showing up, mostly in the form of fear. Mostly in the form of fear, and in, how can I put this? The more that you are a disbeliever in all things magical, fantastical, impossible, according to those who are really like, kind of like rooted in the matrix, you know, who are very attached to the structure of society, the more that you are fearful of opening up to what would almost be miraculous, the more that you will hold yourself back from what is meant to be received here. Yeah. Shadow energy. See? There's like some treasure. There's like some blessing you're meant to receive here, but you could hold it at bay through your fears, through your sense of inadequacy, or there not being enough, or these kind of things never happened to me, or that's not possible. That's just, you know, some kind of castle in the sky. That's some kind of unrealistic pipeline dream that's never going to come into reality. The more you stay in that space, it absolutely will not happen for you. This energy does require that you enter into a little bit more of a state of, why not? Interesting. Every time you find yourself, oh, that's an interesting exercise. That's quite a sadhana. A sadhana is like a spiritual focus to a day-to-day task, you know? It's something a little bit ethereal that you root in the marketplace. It gives you a different perspective of something. And I kind of dig the way this is coming through. I feel like this is coming through to say, the next time you find yourself asking, why is this going like that? Or why is this like that? Or why are they acting like that? Whatever it may be. Anytime you find yourself during this Mercury retrograde going, why? Counterbalance it with, well, why not? Ask yourself that question in the moment and use that as a meditation point. Well, why not? It might provoke something in your consciousness that gets you looking at something in a different way in that moment. Ooh, okay. Ooh, I like this. Yeah, why not? Maybe there's something more beneficial in the delays than you were expecting. Expectations can really F us up, man, because they act like such limitations. Yes. They act like such limitations. This came out in reverse, crossing. Yeah, that's what we don't see. That's what we don't see. That's the very thing that can bring us balance. Instead of asking why, start asking why not. That's where the power is to be found. That's what brings it all into what we've wanted to root into our story for a long time. That's what brings it all into our story. You know, you write it as you go. Every moment, the way you show up determines how things roll out. Instead of asking why, say, why not? Maybe even practice saying it like that, you know? Well, why not? Why not? Why the hell not? You know? I just lost my job. Why? Why not? I know that's a really like, more, that's like advanced alchemy. But let me tell you, you can even look at something like that and you can bring that spirit into it. Well, why not? Why not? If it's going, something else is meant to come in there that is more in alignment for you. And yeah, that's pretty dicey. That's pretty fierce. But I mean, I don't know why that one had come in like that. But when you take that 3, you merge it with that ace, you get 4. You get the emperor. You get power. You know, that's how these experiences are going to come through. And when you look at all these together, you got 14, temperance. Temperance sometimes comes through what gets destabilized, you know. It has to shake us up a little bit so we can find our balance. That's usually how we find the middle, you know. You go too far one way than the other. It kind of has to balance out, level out. I'm just bringing it in because we do have to understand that as we're moving through this cycle, not everything is going to be the way that you envisioned it would be. Not everything necessarily will be to your present self's liking, but your future self would look back and go, oh, that was the moment, man. That's when it all went on the right track, right? And so there is a little bit of this sort of like magical quality where you have to be able to maybe, some may say it's being a little too optimistic or maybe wearing your rose-colored glasses, but see, people usually only wear the rose-colored glasses when everything seems to be going really good. Or it's like they feel like they're really already in alignment with something they really want. And so they kind of ignore the little things that are highlighting what's, you know, not quite right for them. You know, they make excuses, right? But when you can look at something that's like a really rough experience or something you really would rather not see, and you can train your brain to say, well, why not? I mean, this may be the best thing that ever happened to me. And people would look at you and they'd be like, you're freaking crazy. But look at it this way. If it's going down, it's going down, no matter how you choose to look at it. And I can tell you from personal experience, much personal experience, that when you look at it that way, where you're like, well, you know, why not? I wonder what's going to happen next. Wow, something I never thought possible is about to roll out here because I really thought things were going to go this way, but now they're heading this way. And if you approach it more with that spirit, it really does work in your favor. It really does work in your favor. It's like everybody wants to be on the path. Everybody wants to be an alchemist, but to be an alchemist means you like repeatedly get thrown in situations that destabilize you. So you learn how to find your center within the destabilization. It's when you are able to find calm and therefore really tap into creativity within the chaos. To be at the center of everything that's dissolving around you. That's how the butterfly sprouts wings, you know? So there's really something about this kind of spirit coming through. The more that you can kind of embrace what some people may say is acting a bit like a fool, to be overly optimistic, or to look on the brighter side of life, even if something does feel a little jarring, you know, try to tap more into a sense of excitement around it where you can, which I get, you know. It's more challenging. It's more challenging to transmute things nowadays because of everything that's going down. It can make you feel like it's always going to be mean and heavy, or like there is no hope, but it's just not true. It's not true. But in order for that tide to really turn, you have to be able to embrace a different view before it even is evident, before it does show up on the scene. That's how we create change. Change always happens in the mind. It's as simple as that. It's a different way of framing your experiences. And if you think I'm nuts and I don't know what I'm talking about, try it. The next time you're asking why, say, well, why not? And maybe even say it like that. Well, why the hell not? And you'll make yourself laugh at yourself in that moment. It brings a little levity into it when you start playing with life. You know, life can feel like a game, like everybody's working you, or, you know, there's all this manipulation out there, and, you know, you're just a pawn, you know, you're just a game piece being moved down these paths that lead to all kinds of fuckery. Or it can be a game. It can be something that you're an active player in, and you can derive a sense of, I don't know, more excitement, more enthusiasm, more engagement, more curiosity, more fun. You know, there is a way. There is a way. It's not always easy. It's not always easy. But even in the bleakest spaces, you can call it in. You can call the light in to the darkest spaces. It's really true. So test it out and see how it rolls out for you. Maybe experiment with it a bit, okay? On March 7th. Maybe even ask that. That'd be a good reality tunnel to set up. Life, spirit, God, Buddha, Eris, however you relate to it. Show me the why not today. Show me the why not. And see what happens. Ooh, yeah. Oh, I like it. Look at that. The Joker came out in reverse. That throws the shadow aspect of the trickster in reverse. You see? Oh, you really threw it up on me there. I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that at all. Look at that. You got the 9 of Hearts in the shadow. Yeah. There's something there in exploring that territory where you'll see something you haven't seen before that is a point for fulfillment, that can reverse some kind of disappointment for you and root an entirely different view. Yeah, it will really bring an end to the way that you've engaged with your life. You'll see something, a power there, something that's been working against you. And with that, you know, you'll definitely feel like, okay, I know what I need to move away from, because as long as I stay attached to this perspective, this situation, this way of engaging with my life, it's going to keep me out of balance. There's nothing to plant there. But as soon as you see through it, you got all the answers you need. And that's where you find your fire, just like that. You got your fire and your air. Look at that. You got the sword and the clubs. I like it. I like it. Okay, anything else to cap this off here? And then I think I'll get some numbers of significance. Okay. You might have something go down online. Okay, I'm seeing like a starmate energy coming in here. See something falling on the floor there. Okay, there is a road opening here. You may feel this road opening before it arrives on the scene. You may just start to recognize that things in life are getting a little bit easier. Yeah, this is what's about to be cast away, your time of rest, all right? So I do feel like this is a much more active Mercury retrograde cycle when things actually start moving. There's actual movement out of the crossroads. There's a choice that's being made here. Yeah, there's a choice that's being made here because there is some seed of potential here. It's like that cosmic egg of creation. You can look at it as an ace of pentacles, a diamond that's been plucked out of the void, but it hasn't been activated because it does require that you plant it, okay? But you got your chariot that's moving forward here. And there might be some word you're hearing online from a star mate of significance that's the very thing that gets this thing moving. Gets you actually recognizing, wow, I do have a road open to me to explore. I wasn't expecting this. So there's somebody of significance that you're hearing from here. Okay, you may hear from them online. This can even be for those of you who do work online. This can be a pathway opening up for you that you didn't expect. An opportunity coming through for you that's really in alignment for you. It's like the fulfillment of a long-held dream. Okay, this is coming in with the energy of 13. So you see, it's like, I also feel like in order to activate this potential, there is something that does need to go. So it's the way you've been doing something, or it's perspective, or it's letting go of one thing in favor of another, all right? It could even be just like really letting the past go and saying, okay, you know, sweep it clear, clean slate, start from the beginning. I was having a conversation with somebody recently, and I was saying, you know, if you're in a relationship and you've been dealing with a lot of challenges with that person, and yet you really feel invested, or you feel like there's still value in the connection, even if the connection's really changing, even if it's something very different than it started out as. Like, let's say you were with somebody romantically and it didn't work, and now you're transforming your relationship, and maybe you still want to be friends, or maybe you work together. Who knows? You know, that's just one example. This can play out in many different ways. But where you are wanting to reinvent a connection, reimagine it, you know, maintain the connection, but have to really do so on a new foundation. Or maybe you want to take the relationship to the next level. Maybe it went through growing pains. You cannot really move into that until you completely let go of everything that happened before. And if you're not in a space where you can do that, where you can wipe the slate clean and say, okay, we cleared that out, and now we're not going to revisit it. We're going to start again with how we are right now. If you can't do that, then you can't take the opportunity, because it's not fair. You can't keep throwing somebody's past in their face. It doesn't work. You got to let people grow and evolve. So there could be a decision related to something of that nature coming in here. And it could be a certain crossroads you have to face, and you have to make a decision. Do I revive this or not? Okay. I do think to revive something or to take an opportunity does require that something is really cleared from the decks. Okay. But it does promise some kind of growth. I mean, there is alignment here. There is. You know, this can even be, you know, a dream that you thought passed you by, coming around. It needed time. It needed time for you to arrive in an emotional space where you could actually receive it, nurture it, and invest in it in a way where it could come to fruition. Okay? So this is why no matter what rolls out here, especially with eclipse season, ask yourself, instead of why not? And maybe that's with an opportunity, you know? Why not work through something with somebody? Why not revive something if you feel like it's really aligned with you? Why not? Why not? And where it's not, it's not. Why not let it go? You know? That's how something else can grow. All right? I feel like that's how this is really coming through. All right. Let's get some numbers of significance to cap this off. And it's not going to be like just easy breezy, right? But in general, I feel like it's going to be good, man. It's going to be good. Let me see. Where are the dice? Where are my dice? Where are they? They're like hiding. I don't know. Maybe we're not doing dice tonight. Why not? Why not use the dice? All right, I guess no dice, just letters, man. We don't need the numbers. I don't know where they are. They're somewhere around here. I guess we don't need them. Not important right now. Not important right now. We're entering the timeless, eternal now. What's time? It's just a belief construct anyway. Who cares? Let's get some messages coming through with the letters here. Oh, here's the dice. The dice are in the bag with the letters. Oh, okay. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, look at this. Okay, so this is coming in with the energy of 9 total. All right, so we have life path 6, we have life path 3, we have life path 9. We got life path 4 and 5 on the side here. 9 coming through very strongly, okay? It's the energy of the Hermit. It's also the energy of the 9th house of Sagittarius. So I really feel like things are moving here where they have been feeling like held back or stuck. I mean, we do have the paddy wagon here, but see, the paddy wagon is heading north, right? So we're getting out of an old stuck cycle and we're finally moving forward and we're moving on up. And where you thought you were out of it, you know, like you weren't included in some kind of elevation here, you're going to find you're in. There's space for you in that chariot, okay? This is coming in really strongly with the energy of Gemini here. Gemini coming through very powerfully, just through the archetype of lovers, but also with the 3rd house coming in. Communication is really significant this cycle, but not in the traditional way that you would think about it. I mean, I do feel like there's an important communication coming in. And yeah, we always have things go awry with communication. But when things go awry with communication during this Mercury retrograde, you know, instead of going, why? Just go, well, why not? What can I do now? Oh, I can't get online right now. Oh, what can I do instead? You know, why not? I got extra time now. No use fretting about it. I mean, nothing I can do about it. So I'm going to do something else, okay? I feel like it's that, you know, it's unexpected communication. It's unexpected things happening with communications too. But whatever happens there, it gives us an opportunity in that moment to come into a different kind of alignment and use it to move us into expansion in some way. There's also communication coming in here, this Mercury retrograde cycle. It could be from a very significant person. It could be somebody that we are meant to align with. It can be a bit of a star mate sort of energy. And those star mates can come in many different forms. They don't just have to be a romantic partner. It can be a significant friend. It can be an important alliance. It can be a mentor that's coming in. Somebody you're meant to work with on some level. But I do feel like the communication that comes in around this, you're all in. You're all in, you know. You want to go for this. You see that there's something that can be rooted here. What can be rooted here? It's the foundation for something that can lead you into greater expansion. I do feel like it's a yes, okay? It may require you to really tap into your wisdom in making this decision, you know? You've grown a lot through what's rolled out in your life. So trust what you already understand here. And trust yourself too. I feel like that's important no matter what you decide here. We also got the energy of the Empress here. So there's something that is just opening up here. There's a lot that's going to grow as a result of what's being rooted here. Double nines, 18, the moon, again, 9, okay? So there's a lot of spiritual lessons being integrated at this point. Spirit is really forward here. The messages that are coming through, the signs that are coming through, this isn't just like superficial stuff. You're feeling it on a real deep soul level. And you're in. You're in. That's all I know. You're all in. And this is the dawn. It's coming through right here. Okay, so again, notice how the light is building in your life. Notice how there is more ease. There is more flow. When you stop looking behind you and you start really paying attention right where you're at, you're going to see that moment by moment you are coming back to life. And it's a beautiful thing, right? And I like this because this energy of it's coming earlier than you expect. The dawn is coming earlier than you expect. That's a really cool message. It's like you may feel like there's a lot more to go. That we sort of opened up with that message, like feeling like, oh gosh, I have to climb up, another mountain. It's not true. It's coming earlier than you expect. You will realize it. The perspective will come through. And I do have the rune Dagas coming through. Dagas is about daybreak. It's finally getting to the other side. It's a breakthrough moment. It also looks very much like a butterfly. So there is something that's transforming here. Butterfly makes me think of butterfly clan on the medicine wheel. Air signs, I think you may really be feeling this coming through for you. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And I got the energy if coming through. What if? What if? What if? That is another way we can hold ourselves back, right? Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? And you can reframe that just like the other. Well, what if? Well, what if? Would it be such a disaster, really? I mean, that's always a possibility. Things can always turn out the opposite of what we expect. So what if they do? So what? Is it worth it in the moment? Is it worth it in the moment? I mean, I really think that's what it is. It's like the more that we come into right now, the better off we're going to be. Because with the way things are changing in the world, you're never going to have all of the pieces of the puzzle in place, because the picture is constantly shifting. It's changing, and new puzzle pieces are being gained that can make up quite a different picture than you anticipate when you first start putting everything together, putting the pieces of the puzzle together, okay? So don't limit the vision here that wants to come through. See anything else? I got CB coming through here, so it does make me think of like kind of being on a CB, like trying to reach out to what feels like it's at a distance, waiting for word, waiting for word back to get what you need to move forward. I do feel like where you're looking for that kind of like confirmation, it is coming through. And when it comes through, you're going to be like, yeah, there's definitely getting on board with something here. Getting on board with something here. I'm also seeing like this really good energy of a lot of people are going into recovery. A lot of people are really facing what needs purification, what needs to be transformed, and they are doing the work, and it looks really good. And we do have an Uno moment coming through here, so I like this. And maybe that's why we need to move through this retrograde, right? We need to flip it up and reverse it like a game of Uno. And with that, I got hugs and kisses, okay? So yeah, I mean, something might turn out a lot different than you think, okay? Where it might be sour grapes right now. It might turn out quite differently, which is kind of funny just with going into recovery for that coming in. Yeah. If somebody is like looking to stop drinking, you know, I think you got a lot of support there. Yeah, I got wine coming through. Somebody likes their wine. Jeremiah always had some mighty fine wine. Makes me think of Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Yeah, was a good friend of mine. Yeah, I mean, and in some cases, you know, maybe you're dealing with a situation where one of you is ready to get free and the other isn't, you know. What if they never do? Well, what if? Are you going to stay in that space, or are you going to, you know, get yourself right? And you don't know, you know, what comes down the road, but I do feel like it's really important that we stay focused and in alignment with what is our own sort of like spiritual directive here and what we need to do on our paths. Not be so focused on what choices others make. I think that's very important, you know. Get back to, you know, I think Uno, get back to number one, get back to you. You have to put yourself first. You have to put yourself first. You're of no use to anybody if you don't, you know, get right with yourself first. So that coming through for somebody. Okay. I don't feel like getting into names and places. I feel like this is enough. This is what wants to come through. And yeah, just ride this wave of change. Dance on the ashes of what gets burned down. Gather close together with those who support you, but be open to new experiences, you know, connecting with new people or revisioning connections where there is the opportunity and you want to. And if you don't want to, that's cool too, you know. But I really do feel like a lot is going to transform in this cycle. And where you thought you can't, you absolutely can, okay? So a can't is going to turn into a can as well. Yeah. That's what I got. Godspeed.